Fellow Ghanaians, good evening. Tomorrow, 4 years ago, on 4th August 2019, our nation commemorated the maiden edition of Founders' Day, a day set aside to recognize the contributions made by successive generations of Ghanaians across many decades to the liberation of our nation from the shackles of colonialism and imperialism, and the founding of the new nation-state of Ghana. 4 years on, it is good to see that the needless controversy, spurred on by largely outdated political considerations, that initially embroiled the celebration of this day, is being gradually set aside, as more and more Ghanaians now come to appreciate the collective effort made by many Ghanaians to the process of gaining our independence. 4th August, in the life and history of our nation, is one of utmost importance. It is indeed a sacred day. We must remember the sacrifices made some 126 years ago when a group of our forebears formed the Aborigines Rights Protection Society in Cape Coast on 4th August 1897 to resist the application and implementation of the 1897 Crown Lands Bill, which sought to sequestrate and expropriate our lands to the benefit of the British Crown, as was done during the same era to the lands of our fellow Africans in Eastern and Southern Africa. The society mobilized the chiefs and people and public opinion in the then Gold Coast to agitate against this pernicious legislation and eventually force the colonial power to withdraw the bill. The ownership of our lands was never an issue again during the rest of the colonial period. We should not then forget that we continued to possess our lands freely, unlike the situation in Eastern and Southern Africa, because of the bravery and foresight of the members of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society. And we must continually pay homage to these patriots. Fellow Ghanaians, the second of the two significant events in the struggle, after the agitations of the 1920s, 1930s, and early 1940s, then occurred on 4th August 1947, exactly 50 years later to the day of the formation of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, when a group of nationalists, including, quote, paramount chiefs, clergymen, lawyers, entrepreneurs, teachers, traders, and men and women from all walks of life in the Gold Coast, unquote, according to an eyewitness, gathered in Salt Pond for the launch of the United Gold Coast Convention, the UGCC, the first political party in our country. The UGCC was the first political party to make a formal demand for independence. Indeed, the first time any such demand was made in colonial Africa, a demand made 11 days before the declaration of India's independence on 15th August 1947. In the words of the chronicler, L.H. Akufo-Addo, 4th August 1947, quote, marked the beginning of a new era in the Gold Coast, unquote. It is the date which shaped and determined the course of our collective history, setting the stage for an organized front for Ghana's independence struggle. History has captured the seminal events that unlocked the door to freedom. The triggering of mass resistance by Nikwab Namboni, boycotting through the boycott of goods of European independent Ghana. We should continue to celebrate this day accordingly. Today, 76 years later, and 66 years after independence, our nation is considered a beacon of democracy and stability in Africa, where the rule of law, respect for individual liberties and human rights, and the principles of democratic accountability are part and parcel of our governance structure. These are the very things for which our forebears fought. The battle our generation must fight and win is that of rapid economic development. We must set Ghana to rights and get our country to where it should be. The challenge before us remains to build a modern economy and thereby generate a prosperous, progressive, and dignified life for the mass of our people. Hard work, enterprise, creativity, discipline, and a consistent and effective fight against corruption in public life will bring the transformation we seek. I am confident that with a united will, we can achieve this in our lifetime. I wish all Ghanaians a happy Founders Day, and may God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong.